I think that first-person shooter is kind of, the core of, the hunter-killer kind of behavior in the human being. You're designed to hunt and aim and shoot at stuff. So I think it's a very attractive genre for most people. People, get it really fast. Then of course you can do that in many different ways. I think, for instance, Battlefield is one way of portraying this, hunter, killer, finding your prey and hit it with whatever weapon you're carrying. The genre is actually, it feels like everyone is trying to build the same game in a way because it's so deeply rooted in the human being. And we all have our different approaches on, what's the right way of approaching this fantasy of war or a space war or whatever fight you want to kind of simulate. Everyone is trying to build a first-person shooter is kind of trying to get the same emotion across. And I think it's very interesting to see how different companies or different people are trying to approach this from different angles. We in the Battlefield series is of course focusing from our angle with a lot of destruction and strategic decisions and team play. I think we're all evolving towards the same kind of realism, trying to get the player to be there, to aim, to shoot, to see the result of your bullet, and create immersion. At DICE we look at the competition, but our aim is actually further. The aim is often a couple of years ahead of what anyone is doing. But I think in general, games are getting better at keeping the player focused around the first-person experience. You have less cutscene that take you out of the experience. You have more things happening with you and around you. We're experimented a lot with this when we did Mirror's Edge, for instance, where you keep the player in the first-person movement at all times. You don't break that illusion. And of course this is now being translated into the Battlefield series as well. So there's a lot of things you see in different games that adds to this experience, but to be honest, there hasn't been quantum leaps when it comes to first-person shooter. I see it as an evolution from year to year, which of course makes it even more challenging because it proves that we're all again trying to achieve the same thing. If you look at first-person shooters as one, you could always argue that it has to do with technology, and I definitely agree that technology is what gave us first-person shooters in the first place, and it is what will drive first-person shooters to become more visceral and more intense and more real, so to speak. So one of the big challenges is, since we're all trying to kind of find the sweet spot of realism in games, technology is what will take us there if we have the right vision. I think all new technology is often crude, and there's a threshold before you kind of get into the game, and you might get disturbed with just using something for the first time. The first time you used a mouse for a PC, it felt a bit odd to move this thing around on screen with this puck that you're holding in your hand. So I think new controllers, new way of controlling the game, we will see after a couple of years which will stick and which will just go away. I think 3D is also still on the rise. We will see how that works out in the end. I think it's a very interesting technique and technology, but it's actually been around since the 50s. With red-blue glasses and stuff like that. So 3D is also something that everyone is trying to achieve with or without glasses. I think in general the FPS genre has been broadened by the use of FPS. You can now play FPS games on your iPhone, but you can also play it on your high-end PC, and it's actually the same experience but rendered in a higher or lower fidelity. So I think just the broadening of the genre, make it more accessible for more people, is definitely very interesting. And we can also see that even if we have this broad market, we also see that everyone is trying to kind of achieve the same result. And you do that by introducing different things. So there's partially a broadening, but there's also a streamlining of what first-person shooters should be and how they should play. So everyone is kind of evolving and turning into almost the same control schemes, the same field of view, the same, you know, it sounds kind of the same, it looks kind of the same. We all know the same tricks. So it's actually harder today to find new tricks because we're all trying to achieve the same emotion. I think it's important for people that have played Battlefield before and our old Battlefield 2 fans to know that we're really focusing on Battlefield 3 to make it the best possible Battlefield product that we've done to date. You know, we're not aiming to let anyone down that is a hardcore Battlefield 2 fan, so you know, it will all be there.